Good evening, everyone, and happy Groundhog Day. We are recording this on the evening of February 2nd, 2023, episode 3 of the Can I Be Frank program. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a fun few weeks, still getting my bearings back here, and new changes, exciting moves around the studio here. We have this blue light, which you can't see. It's supposed to make us look prettier. Didn't work over here. And the microphone's a little zoned in, so you can see, again, my ugly countenance. But good to be back. Cold evening. We're expecting some frigid temps out there if you want the weather. So when you wake up tomorrow and watch our podcast, it's going to be quite cold. They're saying in the negative stuff, whatever that means. So bundle up. I'm hearing no school around here in the Lowell area, possibly because of cold, because kids can't go out in the cold or the heat or any of that stuff. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Tonight, very excited. I have a very dear friend with a very interesting story. He's been in the news lately. He is a big part of the golf world these days. I've been calling him Local Boy Done Awesome. And he's really had some prominence now. He is now part of the caddying world on the PGA Tour with a very young up-and-coming superstar, I think, that we'll get into. And he's just an overall good guy. He has an amazing company of his own. Again, we'll talk about. It's a rather interesting brand. It is apparel. He's got a very cool logo and whole story behind it. And behind that is what his long-term 35 plus years passion is, and that's handicapping, as he likes to call it. It's not betting, it's handicapping. He's a handicapper of sports in all shapes and sizes. And he's been pretty damn good at it. And he has an incredible Instagram following and just a lot of people, and he makes great picks, and they're wildly entertaining. So I'll turn you on to all that later as we go. But I just want to get right into it. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of questions, and I've had a lot of you people reach out to me saying, this is what I want to know. Ask him this question about this. And some of these are personal questions or questions that probably my guest doesn't want to reveal because he has a family to feed, and he can't quite probably say some of these things about large sports celebrities, but I'm going to ask him anyway, so we'll see. So here we are, my guest, Kid Dynamite, Dean Emmerson.
Thanks, Frank.
Hi, Dean.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Let me turn you up a little. There you go, fella.
Thanks,
Frank. Make sure you cozy right into that microphone.
I'll get in here.
Look at that. There we go.
Thanks for having me, Frank.
No, thank you. I know your schedule dictates a lot of not a lot of availability. So Dean's coming off the road. I'll let him talk about that, of a heavy PGA schedule. He's had to travel to some terrible places such as Hawaii, California, Arizona, and we're going to talk about his next venture. He leaves on Sunday off to the wildly unfun Waste Management Open out in Glendale? Scottsdale. Yeah, one of the Dales.
Yeah.
Dale here.
Yeah.
And so, Dean, how are you? Welcome.
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Frank. I brought some, first off.
Oh, boy.
No, first off,
Yes.
my huge following. It's about 1,600 people.
Oh, wow.
I got you a hat.
There we go.
I got you a stogie.
Oh, this is the Dynamite ritual. And what you'll come to learn.
Got you a nice hoodie for the cold weather.
Oh,
we're going to
boy.
be about minus 40.
Minus 40. Well, I'll tell you what, Dean, as you kind of.
I got you a head cover.
Oh, my.
Put that on your driver.
Look at this, folks. This is what we're going to get into. This is his Dynamite Caddying Services brand.
I brought you a Fresca.
Oh, hey, how about a Fresca?
It's kind of what we drink in a caddy
How about
tent.
a Fresca? Crack this bad boy right
Cheers.
open.
Thanks
Cheers,
for having
Dean.
me, buddy.
Thank
Appreciate
you, buddy.
it. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good, right?
Dean is delicious. Come on, Danny Noonan special. So I'm going to cut it right over to Dean, let him talk a little bit. Quick background, buddy, of just, I know you're a humble, very humble man. And at the end of the day, you've really made it in this world of caddying, and you have this new, young, up-and-coming superstar, Georgia boy, Davis Thompson, that I want you to talk about. But why don't we just get started for those that don't know you, and everybody knows you, but I mean, about how did you talk your background about the caddying world and how that all began.
Man. It's so, geez, I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll start with, I was working as a pharmaceutical rep for Pfizer and got laid off. They laid off about 2,000 salespeople over a 3-year period. And one day I got the call, I got the tap on the shoulder and said, "You're out." So I had to figure out a way to feed my family.
Oh, just that.
So I ventured down to North Carolina. I had a buddy who was in the lab services business, lab diagnostics, and went down there and started cultivating some business. Joined a golf club down there. Ran into a kid by the name of Doc Redman. Now, Doc was caddying for me one Saturday morning, and he had asked me if I would caddy for him in the Northeast Amateur Tournament in Rhode Island. So it's a pretty prestigious amateur event. It was up in Rhode Island. I said, "Why don't you come up? You'll stay with me for a little bit, and then we'll go down to Rhode Island and we'll play." So we got to meet my wife, Erin, and the boys. And then we went down to Rhode Island. He finished 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. Now, I had never caddied before. I've played golf, but I've never caddied.
That was really your first one?
That was my first tournament ever caddying. Yeah, I had never caddied before. So I caddied for him. Now, those amateur events, you're allowed to use a rangefinder. So it was basically me shooting pins and then cleaning his clubs and giving him some water.
Yeah.
So he finished 6th. About a month later, he says, "Do you want to come caddy for me in the United States Amateur Tournament out in Riviera?" So it was at the match play was at Riviera, but the stroke play was at Bel Air, and then match play was at Riviera.
This is the U.S. Amateur Open, right?
The U.S. Amateur Tournament.
Yeah.
United States.
This is the
Amateur
big one for the biggest, correct?
For amateurs, yeah.
Right.
Now, I didn't know the magnitude of it. I just said, "Sure, I'll go caddy for you." So long story short, he ends up winning in dramatic fashion. He's 2 down with 2 holes to play, and he makes a 80-foot eagle putt on 17 and then a 10-foot eagle putt on 18 to force a sudden death playoff hole. And he ends up winning the U.S. Amateur Championship. And I happened to be next to him watching him play great golf.
Yeah.
So I had the good fortune of being there when he won and caddying for him. And so after that,
what did that? Sorry to interrupt. What did that? When you win the U.S. Amateur for like the non-golf aficionados, what does that mean to Doc? What did that mean in terms of what doors are open then once you?
I mean, you have no idea the magnitude. People told me after that the magnitude of what the U.S. Am does for you, and it's like, so he got into the U.S. Open, he got into the Masters, so he played the Masters. I did not caddy for him there. He decided to go with his coach from Clemson, the guy that recruited him. But he did give me tickets to go down. So we, as a family, we all went down and watched him compete. So that was pretty cool. I had never been to the Masters before.
And remember, if you recall, I was there as well.
That's right.
Year.
That's right.
My dad and I, it was our bucket list.
Yeah.
Very
that's
coincidentally.
Right. That's right.
Remember?
Yeah.
And we stayed at your house.
That's right.
And
we rented a house. We got you some tickets.
It was
it was
a fantastic week. It was really, especially between the nostalgia and the Masters is such a big part of all of our lives. If you love golf, best week of the year for golf, I believe.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And my dad and I were there. Like I said, your hospitality and just spend 2 minutes. How beautiful is Augusta National? It's like heaven. It really is. It's like nothing you've ever seen.
It's fantastic. I mean, the next time I go there, I want to be inside the ropes. I feel like we followed Doc around, right? And he played with Sergio and I forget who the other guy was. I forget who the third guy in his group was, but we followed them around. And I feel like you miss everything else that's going on when you're following one group.
Yeah.
So like, I enjoy watching it from my couch because you get the highlights and you get all the other players and stuff like that. So the next time I go, I want to be inside the ropes with Davis.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
And so that's a good segue before I get into my little Q&A about a lot of folks I said have like reached out to me and want to know more, some of the more indelicate details maybe of things on tour during the week. But talk about Davis. This is your new player. You obviously get started with Doc, and now this kid Davis Thompson. Tell us a little about him because it's a pretty great story.
Well, I can't get into Davis without talking about Rob Oppenheim.
Local boy.
Yeah. So
how about a Fresca?
So I I caddied for Doc in the USAM. Then I did a couple of PGA events for him after. As soon as he was still an amateur, he brought me along to the to Hilton Head the week after the Masters. So I caddied my first PGA event with Doc at not the RSM, but RBC down in Hilton Head.
Oh, right.
We were paired up with Zach Johnson and Wesley Bryant. So, I got to caddy there. That was my first PGA event. And believe me, there's a lot that goes into that.
Did Zach Johnson make you pray with him?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope, he did not. But I did get my hands on his Seymour putter. His caddy dropped the putter, and I actually got to pick it up. Now, I putt with my whole life I've putted with a Seymour, but I got my hands on that one, and that was, the guy's won Masters.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. But no, he didn't.
Did you lick it or anything? Or
no,
okay.
I just
All right.
kind of held it.
Oh, nice. Well,
this.
That's very weird, but go, continue. Sorry.
So I caddied for Doc there in a PGA event. Then I caddied for this kid, Ben Griffin, who I had met at the Northeast Am. He went to UNC. I caddied one event for him as well. And I ran into Rob Oppenheim at an event. Now, Rob was on the Korn Ferry Tour at that time. And Rob saw me out there. Now, I knew Rob was a local golf legend around here. He's obviously
for sure.
Probably one of the most famous golfers out of the New England area, I would say. And he said, "Hey, Dean, would you like to come out and caddy for me on the Korn Ferry?"
Wow.
I said, "I'd love to." So I went out and caddied for Rob in the Korn Ferry events. Then the playoffs came. And Rob, I caddied for Rob in 4 playoff events. And at the end of those events, he earned his PGA Tour card. And he said, "The bag's yours if you want it."
Wow.
So you can go caddy on the PGA Tour with me if you want it. So he gave me the opportunity to go.
What year
caddy
is this now, Dean?
2019.
Okay. Yep.
So he gave me the opportunity to go out to the PGA Tour and really learn from him. He taught me everything I know.
Yeah.
I mean, you still learn.
Yeah.
I'm still a rookie, if you will. And so I caddied for Rob for 2 seasons on the PGA. And in 2020, I got a call from an agent. I was it's Pebble Beach this week, but I was on the plane traveling to the next event. I actually it was a text from a guy named Jeremy Elliott, who I had met when Doc was turning pro. He asked me to sit in with him while agencies, bless you,
Thank you.
agencies were coming in to pitch him to sign with them. And I met this one particular agent who kept my number. He reached out to me. He said, "I just had one of my bigger signings. I signed this kid, Davis Thompson, out of the University of Georgia." And I said, that's great. I said, "Bless you. How?"
Stop blessing me. I'm trying to hide these from the camera, damn it. I'm allergic to you.
God bless you.
Continue.
He said, "I just had my biggest signing."
Wow.
And I said, "Oh, that's great." I said, "What's the kid like? What's his family like? Where's he from?" I didn't really know of Davis Thompson, but apparently he was the #1 amateur in the world.
Oh, just that.
I think he held the lowest scoring average at the University of Georgia, where guys like Brian Harmon, Harris English, Bubba Watson, Kevin Kisner, those guys.
Heard of those guys?
Yeah. So I'm like, that's great. Let me see if I can match him up with somebody, another caddy that kind of fits his personality and stuff. And he's like, no, I'm thinking of you. And I was like, well, shoot, man, I've seen the guys that have caddied for him at these PGA events. Although he was an amateur, he played in some PGA events, and he had Damon Green, who caddied for Zach Johnson. He had Mike Hicks, who caddied for Payne Stewart. And I'm like, I don't have that type of resume. And he's like, that's not what he needs. That's not what we're looking for. And I said, well, I'm flattered. He's like, I'd love to have you caddy for. And I said, I'm flattered, but I can't because I'm with Rob and I want to play the season out. It was January of 2020.
It was right pre-COVID, right?
Yeah. It was just getting into COVID. And so we kind of just went our separate ways. And a year later, Rob was not playing in the Sanderson Farms tournament. And I got a call from Jeremy, and he's like, would you like to caddy for Davis? I know you and Rob aren't playing. So I called Rob, and I said, Rob, would it be okay if I caddied for Davis this week? And he said, goes to show you what a great guy he is. He's like, A, you don't need my permission. And B, that kid's really good. You could go win with him. So at that point, I kind of just hooked up with Davis, and we've been together for about 1.5 years now.
It's I just, to take a moment, that's pretty impressive, your level of loyalty and doing the right thing. Obviously it's great that Rob is such a gentleman about the whole
he's
thing.
The best.
And he's right. Of course, I to my understanding of the caddying world, these people don't own you. You're their sidekick, and you can be booted off anytime, and vice versa, and you can quit. So I think it's fantastic that you did it the right way, and you turn up the other side. So, okay, now here we go. Davis.
Yeah.
And now you're with Davis.
Now I'm with Davis, yep. And so we started with Davis on the Corn Ferry Tour. He ended up finished 14th last season on the Corn Ferry, which gets you your PGA Tour card.
Right? Yep.
So he obviously spent one season on the Corn Ferry, and now he is a rookie on the PGA Tour, and we've played, I think, 7 or 8 events to this point. We started in the fall in Napa, where he finished 9th in his first PGA Tour event as a rookie. And then he finished 12th in Las Vegas. I think he's made 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8 cuts. And coincidentally, the only cut that he's missed is the one down in Sea Island where he lives. So I think he felt a lot of pressure.
His family's sitting there like, thanks, bud. Thanks for the tickets. Appreciate it.
I think he felt a lot of pressure, but he's obviously done very well.
It's a cool story, and he's young, he's energetic, he's coming at you, and so kind of a good segue. I really want to ask you a bunch of questions about caddy life and golf and professional sports.
Yeah.
And so I kind of been, as I talk about this segment of this show, that for people like, I don't want to listen to someone talk about golf for an hour. We're not talking about golf. I want people to get the story of what's it like out there. I mean, you were as you say, inside the ropes, was an expression people say about golf. When you're seeing it all, you're seeing the interviews, you're seeing behind the scenes stuff, and I'd love to hear more about that. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's a good segue to about 2 to 3 weeks ago when you were playing in the Amex with Davis.
Yeah,
big tournament, biggest players in the world.
Yeah,
and that was that. What course was that one at?
That is, it was. Well, there were 3 courses that week: La Quinta Country Club, and then the PGA Stadium course, and then the Nicholas course. So it was three courses. So
talk about kind of the first couple of rounds, because those are obviously, I believe he set some records or something, correct?
Yeah, I think the first round at La Quinta Country Club, I mean, I think he had 3 eagles that day. And then he had 2 more the next day, and it was just like those situations. You're just trying to stay out of the way,
right? Was he just on fire, just in his zone? Yeah,
just didn't miss any shots, And he hits it pretty far. So on these par 5s, he was hitting 5 or 6 irons in that were 225 yards and making the putts. So yeah, he had it going those first 2 days. Actually, all week.
Now, when a player's in a zone, I assume there's less talk, more talk between you, caddy, and player.
You try and keep things normal, like you would normally do, and not kind of. It's funny because they don't advertise it, but we played with amateurs that week.
Okay.
Like AT&T this week, it's advertised as the Celebrity Pro-Am.
As the Pro-Am, right.
Well, it was also a Pro-Am, and you play with an amateur 3 days, and then Sunday, you don't. So it's funny, the amateurs are trying to say, like one of the guys, I think he's the CEO of Hilton, he said, do you realize you're 6 under after 7 holes? And you're just like, did you really just say that?
Shut up, man.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Trying to ice the pitcher.
Exactly.
You see the pitcher, where do they go when they're throwing a no-hitter? They go to the end of the bench. They're all alone. So you just try and keep it normal. I just tried to, as far as the conversation and the dialogue goes, you just try and keep it normal.
So he's rolling. He's leading the tournament at Friday.
Yeah.
Correct. I was sitting with some mutual friends of ours watching this live on Friday afternoon, and I hadn't caught up. It's just, it's not like peak golf season. Sometimes you kind of forget what's actually happening. And the gentleman I'm sitting with, like, do you see what's happening? I said, no. It's like, well, there's Dean, on the Golf Channel, his guy Davis leading this pretty significantly major tournament, and being chased by someone you might have heard of called John Rahm, who is what world number is he right now?
I think he's 4, but he's maybe 1. I don't know.
Could be 1.
I honestly don't know.
So arguably the hottest, I won't say the greatest player in the world right now, John Rahm, and young Davis Thompson head the clubhouse Friday, and he's heading off on the leaderboard Saturday.
Yeah.
So pick it up from there. So what's that like? What's Saturday morning, even Friday night for you? Do you guys talk? Do you just go clean his clubs and stay the heck out of his way?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, of course we talk, but it's like, okay, we've got a tee time at, let's say, 10 o'clock on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And the night before, we'll look at the pin sheets, see where the pins are for the next day, because they get sent out to us.
They do.
Yeah. So you kind of get your yardage book and you look where the pins are going to be. You check the wind for the next day, and you kind of game plan.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't want to miss it here. Is this driver or 3-wood off of this tee? Stuff like that.
Throughout, probably map it out for all 18 holes, I'm imagining, right?
Yeah.
At least a game plan. It could all change, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Weather, of course.
The wind is the biggest thing.
Yeah, right. So Saturday arrives, first tee Saturday. He's leading this tournament. He's a kid. He's got John Rahm standing next to him.
Well, I think we played with Rahm on Sunday.
Not Saturday?
No.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, Sunday we played with Rahm.
I'm an ill-prepared interviewer. What sport is this?
That happened.
You guys play badminton?
Pickleball.
Sorry about that. Pickleball.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that later.
So
Pickleball championships behind the old court. So anyway, Saturday sucked. How about go to Sunday? Boom.
Sunday we
Asshole I am. Sorry,
that's okay.
Dean. Sorry, Dean.
That's all right. Saturday, Sunday. Who cares?
I'm no Steve Sands.
Who cares? Sultry. I call him Sultry Stan.
He's a handsome man.
He is. Sunday, what's it like? The same. You try and keep things the same way as they would be any other day.
Yeah.
You don't want to make the moment bigger than it is.
Well,
what do you want me to do?
Underwear ritual, walking around.
Cartwheels to the front tee?
Some cartwheels.
What was great about Sunday was that it wasn't just us and John Rahm. We went out in threesomes because the TV schedule, they had football playoffs. So maybe it was Saturday.
Oh, for Christ's sake,
I'm
Dean,
wrong.
you were there.
Maybe I'm wrong. Was it Saturday or Sunday?
Well, he was leading on Friday, last group Saturday.
No, let me think.
This is a terrible story. Let's just move on, damn it.
Yeah, it was Sunday.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Last week they ended on a Saturday. Anyways, Sunday, we're there. We went off in threesomes. JT Poston, Davis Thompson, John Rahm. And so Davis is familiar with JT Poston because he's from Sea Island. So it makes things a little more comfortable when there's a threesome than just us and John Rahm. Sick fuck.
Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, it was easy, calm, no stress. Like
He was relaxed. How
I think
old?
he was
24?
He's 23.
23.
Yeah.
And he wasn't phased. Like, how was his emotions?
No,
I mean,
the energy that I was getting from him was that he wanted to win a golf tournament. He wasn't worried about who was next to him or anything like that. When we started coming down the stretch on the 15th hole, I think he started to get a little bit anxious, if you will.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I choke at the member guest every year on the third hole. I'm nervous, Kevin.
Well, you could sense the energy was getting a little tense, but
yeah,
I think that's where a good caddy comes in and tries to keep their player relaxed.
Fair enough. And he ended up finishing second,
He finished second.
Which nothing wrong with that. I'm sure he was disappointed.
If you're not first, you last.
I know. Kissing your sister, right? Whatever they say.
No, but
second place, something like that.
He was definitely, as I was, emotional after that round because it takes a lot out of you.
I bet you were.
There's a lot of emotions.
A lot of pressure, a lot of cameras, a lot of everything, right?
Yeah. And somebody said, did he seem nervous? Like on 18, he had a chip that was a really nervy chip. I mean, he had to really nip one.
I would have whacked that right into an old lady's face. Damn it! Gotten sued and never played again. Fuck!
No, he pulled it off pretty good.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's great. So anyway, we could talk all day. I polled some people and asked about.
You polled some people.
I polled. I mean, questioned.
Okay.
Not polled. And just what people want to know, because we can talk golf all day, but I really try to make this program more for everyone can watch it. Non-golfers, non-sports fans, non-everything. I want it to be entertaining. So some of the questions I got, which I think are really interesting. And so I'll come right out of the gate with it. During the week, especially maybe the pre-tournament, are players out, like, what are they doing at night? What do they do? Do you get a sense of that? Are they partying? Are they out and about? I know everyone's different. I'm sure there's hermits and I'm sure there's wild people, but
Yeah, I mean, if people are out partying, you don't really see them. At least I won't see them. I mean, Davis and I, he goes his hotel room and he's in bed at 7:30, and so
you guys
am
don't
I.
share a bed? Not anymore?
Not anymore. We're on the big tour. I mean,
Big
Corn
boys now.
Ferry, I won't talk about.
I used to love your videos of the two of you in a hotel room, like, hey, 7 a.m. tea time.
Rob and I spent a lot of time together. But no, yeah, I'm sure there are a few guys that go out.
Yeah.
And we'll have a cocktail or two the night before.
Yeah.
There are definitely some caddies that go out
Well, why the hell
and
wouldn't you?
get lit up. I don't know how they do it, man. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. It's a long day, I'm sure. And then you're tired and you got to prep and you got to
Caddying,
kiss all
lugging-
these guys' asses all day long.
Lugging a bag around, hung over in the heat.
How much does
I
a
can't
professional golfer's bag weigh? That's a good
It
question.
depends. If it's raining, you've got rain gear, towels, umbrellas, all their shit. So
Give
it
me a
would
weight.
go
I want to wait.
without anywhere from 45 pounds to 55 pounds.
That's it.
That's it.
Kind of a pussy. So, oh goodness. Not, how about now? This is a question a lot of people were asking me to ask you, and I mean, I'm not asking you specifics of what your deal is or how your thing works with Davis or Rob or anyone else. Or, how does the money work out for a caddy? Typical, just let's
on
go
the Corn Ferry tour,
No,
on
no,
the
let's talk about the
PGA
big
tour.
boy.
So
Corn Ferry. Corn Ferry is my nighttime name. They call me Corn Ferry. After dark.
So everybody gets a weekly salary, and then
Paid by whom? The player?
yeah.
Okay, I didn't
But
know.
caddies are paying for their own expenses though. You pay for your flight, you pay for your hotel, you pay for your rent a car. But you get a weekly salary from your player, and then you get a percentage of. Most of them will give you a percentage of a cut made, and then standard is 10% for a win. So that's usually how it breaks out. But some of these big guys, your Rory McIlroys, your Tiger Woods, they'll probably just pay a straight salary to their caddies.
Because they're not going to pay their caddy $3 million a year or something. Right?
Whatever it is.
Right.
I do know that like Dustin Johnson's brother on the Live, I think he made around $5 million last year. So
You got to get on his back. Kill the brother.
I'm very happy with the guy I got.
I bet you are. See, yeah, that was a big one. I've always heard that number around 10%, but
That's for a win.
You should, if you make money, 10%, right?
No.
Only a win.
Only a win. If you
What happens if you finish second?
You don't get 10%.
That's not nice.
It is what it is.
But what if you're finishing good money? Top 10, top 15?
You'll
Is that
get
at the player's discretion?
Yeah, you'll get a percentage. You just don't really know. Some guys.
You wake up
They
one
have
day and
different-
you go,
No. You have a deal going into the season what that percentage is.
okay.
So it could vary.
Okay, the win's 10. Oh,
The win is 10%. Cuts made, like top 10s or top 5s, or even a cut made, that percentage varies by player.
but it's laid up preseason.
yeah.
So you know. Okay.
Yeah, going in what your salary and what your percentage is going to be.
Okay.
But that number varies.
But you're paying your freight.
Yeah, you pay. And
okay.
so a lot of caddies will bunk up together. Like last week, I stayed with Doc Redmond's caddy and Doc, and a guy that does physical therapy on the road for the players. So we split up the money. You try and save money that way.
Yeah, one bed. It's fine.
Floor, blow up mattresses.
Move over, fella.
Yeah, it's a it can be a tough life if your player's not playing great.
The other thing I was thinking about was, this is a question I know you're gonna have to tread lightly, but
I know it's coming.
I have to ask.
Well, I don't have to answer.
You do not have to answer, although it would make the show way more fun. I mean, dozens of people are going to see this, literally. And that is, I won't dig into it. I want to ask you who's beloved and who's hated. I mean, I think you've been around long enough. And I won't ask you who's hated Patrick Reed, but in your time on the big tour, and I know you've been around it and you're very humble about it. Can you just rattle off some of your favorites? Guys that are just, all around good guys, gentlemen, just always polite and good to the caddies, good to the fans. I mean,
viewers
don't always see. You think you might see something, but you probably don't. There could be.
Yeah, I think the guy that I caddy for, Davis, is really good guy. I mean, he takes the time to sign for the kids and things like that. Will Gordon, he's another class act. I told him the other day, not a lot of people were watching, but I watched him. He didn't have a great day. He missed the cut, and we're walking off the green. It was Friday, and he's an emotional guy. Like, he gets fired. He whips his clubs, F-bombs, all that stuff. And the last thing you want to do is you just want to get in your car and go. Well, I saw him. He took the time. There were two little kids. He signed a couple balls for them, and he gave them to them. That, to me, is small, but I think it's a class act. So he's a good guy.
You're hyper-focused, and especially, I can imagine, like anything we all do, any level of sport or
business.
When you have a bad day, last thing you want to do is like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
right. I like to hear that.
All right. He's a good guy. Will Zalatoris, good guy. We played with him out in Texas when I was with Rob. He didn't really talk to anybody.
No speaking?
Nah.
5 hours on the course, that guy. He didn't talk to you.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, like the next day.
He's a dick.
No, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but the next day, there are some guys out there that are just focused and they kind of look right through you.
I get that. But how about some of the more, like, I'm going to rattle off some names. And maybe you haven't had an exposure, like House Spieth.
I haven't met him.
Kisner.
Haven't met him.
Tiger.
Jumped on him. Phil, haven't met Phil.
Phil said today?
Well, yeah, I did see that.
Whoa.
About the live and the PGA. Like
to give a backdrop to people watching or listening, Phil Mickelson said this new live tour, the Saudi Arabian tour, very controversial, which many of the top players have jumped to, thus eliminating their PGA privileges. Mm-hmm. They said, what if the live tour played the remaining guys that are on the PGA tour? And Phil was very direct. For lack of a better word, just would kill them. So they're not ready to play us. Like, there's such. Tough, it's almost like
tough talk.
Greg Norman and obviously Phil. These live tours got a lot of bravado guys that just love to talk, and then you see guys like you said his name. It doesn't matter. So, have you had any vibe with that? That's kind of the follow-up question. Is like, have you felt any of this live tour PGA? Are guys actually literally upset that these other guys have taken the cash grab, gone to live, making way more money, arguably, than what these PGA. I mean, it's not even arguable.
It's evident.
It's evident.
They're making a ton of money.
I mean, that's a whole other episode we'll do sometime, because it's an awful tough thing to deny. I can have all this money, guaranteed money.
Yeah, they call it generational wealth.
Yeah, generational wealth, like you and I have.
I wish.
So I want to segue, because I do want to get into the Dynamite stuff. A couple more things on my caddying questions. So you're heading off to the Waste Management Open on Sunday.
Yeah, I leave Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Yep.
So you have a week there out in Arizona. It's always billed. It's certainly probably one of the funnest events on the tour of the year, for certain.
It's a shit show.
It's a shit show.
That's my way of putting it, but it is. There. Golf etiquette goes right out the window. There is none. So, I always try to break things down in case someone's watching that doesn't understand. Yeah.
Golf is a silent sport, right? You're quiet. A lot of people don't like it because there's no cheering, there's no raucousness most weeks, and then there's the Waste Management.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite.
And they just let the fans go wild. Yeah. They're drinking, they're partying, they're gambling. I heard DraftKings has a whole setup there. You can gamble.
I don't know if it's completed, but yeah, they were supposed to have it.
I believe it's happening. For my degenerate friends.
Excuse me.
Dean just burped in the microphone.
They're supposed to have.
It's supposed to be a professional show, so I apologize for Dean there. So, by all means, belch away, Fresca.
Excuse me.
Continue.
They were supposed to have a big facility, DraftKings facility there, and I don't know if it's been completed. I don't think it's going to be done until next year. That's what I've heard.
We'll be ready. Okay. Someone mentioned today.
But yeah,
let's talk about the famous part of this term, which is just like I said, golf and non-golf fans are like, you want to tune in because is it the 16th hole?
Yeah.
The 16th hole, I'll summarize it. Dean can spell it out better. Is they set up stands like a traditional sporting event. This par 3 hole is lined with luxury suites. Ah!
Hi, Frank.
Wow, jeez, is Dean here? With fans and yelling and gambling, and it's raucous, and they cheer through the shots, like so ungolf like. And
Yeah.
it's cool. I mean, have you seen it live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's 3 levels. There's 3 decks, and they can't build another deck because it would get into like air traffic control. There's 35,000 people on one hole.
My God.
And
I heard people come in 3-4 a.m. to run onto the course to get out there.
You can hear the people lining up to get in to get their seats for that particular hole at like 4 a.m. Oh. Yeah, it's really it's going to be nuts.
It's something different. So that's this weekend, folks. Tune in. I'm not sure. I assume that one's going to hit CBS Golf. That will be Golf Channel to CBS. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool event. So, Davis, you and Davis took this week off.
Yeah.
Kind of regroup.
Yep. We had Hawaii, Palm Springs, Torrey Pines all right in a row. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of travel, wear and tear on his body, and go home, rest a week, and then back out to Phoenix, and then I don't know if we're in the Genesis yet, but that's the week after at Riviera. Yeah. And then we go down to Florida.
It's charmed life you lead, Dean Emmerson.
Oh, yeah. It's all rainbows and roses.
Sunshine, unicorns and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the golf, your golf life's going well. We're all very proud of you, all your friends and family, and I think you're just doing so amazing. And so,
thanks.
Wishing you luck this week. Wishing you luck with the season. Best to Davis.
Thanks.
He lets me call him DT. I didn't know if you knew that.
Oh yeah, I can't call him DT now. That's right. I can. Yeah,
so that was a big phobia. Dean, I'll say this again at the end, but of course, you want to follow Dean. Dean has an amazing Instagram account, The Dynamite Show.
Jeez Louise.
It's great. It really is. You're very, very funny. He does a lot of live things, which dovetails into the second segment I want to get into. Dean, very entrepreneurial guy, as I've known him for 15 plus years. And him and I have actually been in business together in the past and done some fun things for another time. But we've always had a lot of fun together. We're both kind of goofy characters. But Dean finally wised up and developed his own brand, which is the Dynamite Caddying Services, as he calls it. And he has a website, Dynamite Sports Marketing. And it really blends, as I said at the beginning of the show. It's obviously he's got kind of a heavy golf theme to it because that is his passion and his love and essentially part of his career. There's a great apparel brand, as you can see. I'm rocking. I put everything on tonight.
It looks great, Frank.
It does look good. I wear black is fattening. But a big part of that is also Dean is a handicapper, as I also mentioned. So he digs into the weeds. He studies this. It's not a hobby. He's not doing it for publicity. He studies and looks at sports, and I would say, without speaking for you, Dean, is you're a football guy.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of your passion,
That's where my bread's buttered.
Your bread is buttered through football, but you'll dabble in hockey, you'll give a play. But I think what I like is
women's softball.
I know. You'd bet on a snail race in Israel. But I think that the point is that you don't do this just to get clicks or get anything. You give a shit and you study, and it's a business. And I don't know how long it's been live, but his Instagram, which is the Dynamite Show, please follow. And he gives picks, and Dean has a very unique way of making picks. So if you're a gambler out there watching, listening, like, this is some fun stuff, you're gonna enjoy this part. And quickly, Dean, how did you become such a sports gambling aficionado?
I think just growing up around my father, like
Degenerate Emmerson.
Yeah, just he always played cards when we were younger. He'd take us to Green Meadow, and him and my Uncle Packy would be playing cards, and we'd be around the table and just watching them. And you'd hear this guy talking about who he had. I got the Eagles, and you just kind of take it all in. And so I think I started betting on football games on the football cards there. They used to hand out the cards way back in the day in high school. I think I started when I was 15 years old, just dabbling.
As one does.
Do they? I'm not quite sure.
No, they don't.
I'm not quite sure, but I know there are people out there now that gambling's pretty much legal everywhere you go. As far as
kicked off in Massachusetts this week, right?
Yeah,
Sports gambling.
Yeah. So I've kind of been dabbling here and there in sports betting since I was 15, and so COVID came. And I was at home talking to Erin about who I was taking. And she's like, oh, you think you're so good. You think you win all the time. And I'm like, no, I don't win all the time, obviously. But she's like, well, why don't you post your picks on Instagram? I said,
what's Instagram?
Exactly. What is that? How do I do it? Boxing glove. Golden gloves are tonight down the street. How'd you get in a ring like that?
Me and Mickey and Dickie. Is this an oven mitt? Oh, it's a head cover. I suck at golf. Thank you again. Continue, Dean. I'm sorry. Gambling. Go.
Yeah. So just started posting my picks on Instagram and then tried to be creative and just doing little skits or whatever just to make it a little bit more fun rather than going into all the analytics saying, this guy, he throws the ball and completes 90% of his pass. Like, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Who the fuck are you taking?
Who's going to win, goddammit?
Who are you taking? And so I try and keep it quick.
I have a mortgage to pay, an oil bill.
Well, you can't get rich gambling. Let's just go with that.
Cut the shit. Yes, you can.
No,
it's a career.
It is not a career.
I would encourage all children to just ease their way.
See, that's what you think when you start betting at 15 years old. You think, I can make a career out of this, and you learn real quick.
College.
You can't.
Quitters.
You can't.
Yeah. No, I know. So the Dynamite story.
Yeah.
How did you become Kid Dynamite, which is the great brand? And I know the story, but tell us.
So I was at Plymouth State, went out, got smashed, and
sozzled. Yeah,
sozzled the night before. Me and my buddies are all hanging around the lounge at Plymouth State. ESPN's up on the TV. I bust the doors open and I say, Dynamite likes the New England Patriots, grabbing 14 against the 49ers.
Grabbing.
And sure enough, the Patriots won, and I just started saying Dynamite. So that's my alter ego.
Yeah.
So fast forward to caddying, it's a business. So I created an LLC, and I called it Dynamite Caddy Services.
Yes, yep.
I run into a woman who works for Branded Bills, the hats. I said, can you create a dynamite stick with a golf ball on the wick? Mm-hmm. Yes, I can. I said, can you make me a couple of hats? I wear the hats to a Corn Ferry event. People are like, what is that logo? That's a cool logo. That's unbelievable logo. I made more hats, and then it just started to snowball.
Very catching logo. Very cool.
It just started to snowball, and I put it on sweatshirts, and I put it on head covers. And so I just kind of created that. I trademarked it, and now I have that logo.
That's awesome.
So that's the Dynamite Caddy Services. The Dynamite Show is where I give my sports selections on Instagram, and that's pretty much it. Man.
So here's the thing. Another of your trademarks, which if you've watched Dean, if you haven't, like I said, it's wildly entertaining. You do a good job in your clips. They're mostly incredibly fun video audio clips Dean does himself. There's a bloopers reel. There's so much good content there. Daily, and you do a great job with it.
Thanks.
So there's so a couple things I want to explain. At the end of all of your, when you make a pick, when you say I like the Eagles to beat the
Chiefs,
which I'll make you pick later. Here's what I would like to do. You always end your broadcasts with the word collecting.
Yeah.
That's your thing.
Yeah,
collecting.
That's my little tagline.
I bet most people don't know. Why? What does that mean, collecting? Would you come up with that one?
Do you know what it means?
You
do. All right.
I do.
So back in the day when people actually used to get a newspaper delivered to their house.
I did it. Yeah.
You delivered the newspapers?
I delivered newspapers, and
so
Thursdays was collecting.
Yes. So the newspaper boy or girl would come to the house, they'd knock on the door, and they'd yell, collecting!
Yes.
And you owed the paper boy the money for the week for the newspaper.
The old ladies were the cheapest bitches, weren't they? They never wanted to pay. Like, it's $285, man.
Well, what's funny is every time that
Just
kid came
fork it
around
over.
to our house,
Yeah.
and I'd yell, "Ma, the paper boy's here."
Collecting!
She wouldn't be around. She'd fucking go missing. So I said, she's not here. So the kid had to come back all the time, you know?
I used to do a loop for Kevin Ahern in my neighborhood. Not that everyone knows what I'm talking about. And he used to give me the worst street where like the cheapest, oldest people were. It's like, hey, don't forget we're collecting today. I'd say, what does that mean? He's like, I was like 7. I don't know.
Right.
Like, damn, I was told I'm collecting. Come tomorrow. Slam.
Yeah.
Take your shitty little son.
Or they give you a bunch of pennies. Here you go, kid. Beat it.
Suck. So the basis of when you say collecting is collect your money off this bet.
From
correct?
a bookmaker, from your FanDuel account, your DraftKings account, you want to be collecting. That's the goal. At the end of the week, you want to be collecting money, not giving it away.
Correct. Fresh bankroll.
Fresh bankroll is Mondays is a new week. You got a fresh bankroll.
If you won. Otherwise,
No.
your leg's broken.
No, not really, because it always starts a new week.
Got it.
So betting
You
week,
always
you
say
obviously
fresh
don't
bankroll.
bet. And you don't follow the show because I tell you, the week starts Monday, ends Sunday,
Here we go. I don't follow the show. Okay.
right? Weeks start Monday, they end Sunday. So when Monday comes around, it's a fresh bankroll. You got a new week.
I get it. I'm
All
just explaining it.
I got you.
Okay, so obviously the dynamite stick, you say this is a half a stick or one stick. I still don't understand what that means.
All right.
When you give a pick, you say this is worth a half a dynamite stick or one stick. Please explain.
All
Once
right.
and for all.
So it's a unit, right? So every time you bet, and it's all relative. So one dynamite stick, right, could mean $100,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So how much is a half a stick?
$50?
Correct.
$50.
So it's just a unit. It's one unit. One dynamite stick equals one unit.
Okay, so whether you're betting $1 or
Or $1 million.
So when you say I'm giving it for one stick,
Yeah.
that's a confident pick.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You're basing that on how good you feel
I
about
dig
what
it.
you're saying.
Yeah.
And so you say half a stick.
Two
like,
sticks is
bet it.
two sticks
but
is really good.
2 sticks.
Yeah.
Is that the max?
No. I think I've bet way back when I first started. So I've been doing this. This is my 3rd year now.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I first started, I was doing 3-4 stick plays.
I like that. I like that gauge, you know. And
Yeah.
Now,
I won't
how has your barometer been when you've set, like, I'm sure you track all this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Everything's numbers.
Yeah.
When you give out a 2-stick play, does that always usually come in? Or, I mean, that's a tough question, but.
Yeah. I mean, as far as monitoring, I just have a general number. Like I've been doing this for 80 weeks.
80 weeks.
Right.
Okay.
I've really started keeping track
Yeah.
a couple years ago. And I think in 2021, I was a 58% winner. 2022 was 57%. And now I'm behind the 8 ball a little bit. I'm like 10, 12, and 2 right now with the start of January. So, yeah, if I feel really good about a pick, I'll put 2 sticks on it. But I generally keep it 1 and less. So 1 unit, half a stick, quarter of a stick.
Okay. So
I'm trying to teach
to
people.
break
like,
it down, it's the lesser amount of sticks.
Yes. I'm not as confident.
You're not as confident. Like,
Right.
it might be worth throwing a couple of shekels on there,
Right.
but
Right.
not necessarily my best pick. But
Right.
if you're a degenerate, like most of our friends are, $10 million on this half-quarter stick.
Right.
The other thing I like, the other expression you always use, and non-gamblers, I mean, I understand it, but buy the deuce.
Yeah.
You buy the deuce on almost everything you do.
Probably, if I'm not betting the money line, I'll buy the deuce on something in
Buy the deuce.
It's not a great, I have this discussion with people all the time. It's like you're spending more money to buy more points on the point spread.
Right.
And my train of thought is if I like something, I'll pay a little insurance, and that's buying extra points. So the key is not to lose. Because if you lose, you pay extra juice. Does that make sense?
It's like Jimmy the Greek was just reincarnated right there.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying. You pay a little extra insurance. It's a great way
Yeah.
to put it.
Yeah.
So you'd rather have $50 than $100. I mean, saying you'd rather have a few bucks than no bucks, right?
Yeah.
Is that really the logic behind it?
Well, if a line is 7 and I can spend an extra $50 to get it to 9, and I liked it at 7, I'm going to pay the extra $50.
Sure.
And you don't pay the extra $50 if you win.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
So-
No, I know. No, it's like I said, you do put some logic to this because most, I think, not most, but
Oh yeah, there's people
amateur
out there have
gamblers
no
just
idea.
want to just bet. They just want action. They don't think it through. And
Yeah.
I think the whole point of that is that you're invested into trying to pick winning bets.
Yeah.
And as gambling becomes more mainstream, and let's face it, it's legal. It's nothing wrong with it. I think old school world, gambling. Jesus.
Yeah, he's
It's
a
like,
degenerate. He's a
hookers
loser.
and prostitution and stuff. It's gambling. It's
Yeah.
just, this is what it is. So
Yeah. It's no different than grandma going down and buying $100 worth of scratch tickets.
What's the difference?
There really is no difference.
I wish we could smoke in here.
I know. I'm dying.
I was going to ask.
So
Teddy,
the last 3 weeks, I didn't have any heaters out there on tour.
what the hell?
I know.
By choice.
So I came home and chain smoked 100 of them. I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
So, I think we've said it all. It's been a great conversation with you, Dean.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's really cool. I was so happy you had a break in your schedule and we could do this together.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We'll have a lot of fun. Dean will be back, but it's I think it's important. Just like I said, this is a great local Lowell boy, done great, done awesome, not done good, done awesome. And he's out there and he's caddying, and it's a grind.
It's really not even me, Frank. I keep saying I must have like some guardian angels putting me in the right place with great people, because it's not really anything that I've done. I mean, this guy's hitting all the shots, and the people that I've caddied for hit all the shots and made all the putts. I just happen to be next to them, and it's like somebody's putting me in the right place at the right time with great people, including yourself, like, with George and Kevin, and, just being with the right people at the right time, and people have helped me along the way, and it's just like,
But
you're just blessed.
you do the right thing.
Yeah,
Good things happen, I think, right?
I guess.
You give
I'm
off
just-
what you put back. Not to make nothing philosophical about my show, but you do what you give off, and like I said, I consider you a dear friend, and you've always just been a positive and honest and true guy, true blue, as one friend of mine says. And so I just think it's fantastic, and everyone should be, rooting for Dean as much as you can. He's heading off to the Waste Management. It's fantastic entertainment. You don't have to like golf. You'll see the 16th hole of this tournament, and you will be dumbfounded of what this is like. This is not your typical golf weekend, and I wish I could jump in his bag. Final question, which I was asked to pose to you, is I know you're probably not going to answer this. However, so you're out there, you're an insider, you're inside the ropes. You see these guys week in, week out, and bottom line is you probably have some inside intel. You're a gambling man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it fair to ask, especially for some nice friends, Rory McIlroy broke his thumb last night in a drunken cornhole match. He's going to suck tomorrow. Bet against him.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Cornhole
that's
match.
the question.
Can I give you information?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
No. I sign,
Horseshit.
all caddies sign like a gambling agreement. and
I'm
players.
surprised they let you on then.
Well, we're not
Promote gambling.
We're not allowed to gamble on golf, but you can. I mean, the PGA has
Pete
relationships.
Rose wasn't allowed to bet on baseball, Dean.
Yeah, no, I don't
Yeah.
do. I stay away. I'm lucky to have the job.
Sadly, I believe you.
I don't want to jeopardize it.
I know you don't wreck your life over, but you can help out a friend named Frank.
I tell you what, golf's hard to handicap. All these guys
God.
are pretty
Sure.
damn good.
Sure it is.
Not that any other sport's easy to handicap, but golf's pretty hard. Like you said, if somebody's injured or something, I mean, that's really the only way that you may have an edge on somebody else. But anybody could beat anybody on any given day.
Yeah, Dustin had a big coke bender last night. Go hard against him on the money line. You could have so much fun. Anyway, you and I could certainly talk for hours about a million things, but I just want to say thank you. I hope everyone found this fun and entertaining. Again, you follow Dean. Trust me, you don't have to like golf. You don't have to like sports. You don't have to like gambling. He's just a wildly entertaining guy. He's one of the good ones. I'm happy to spotlight him. He's getting out of this ridiculously cold weather on Saturday to the beautiful sun-kissed Arizona deserts to join the Waste Management Open. Tune in. You'll get to see him and his newly bald head, which I'm not happy about. Guy had the greatest hair I ever saw many years ago, and now there it is. He wears a Nike hat. Sad.
I had to shave.
Be sure to follow him on the Dynamite Show on Instagram. You get all his content, which is daily. It's fantastic. Get some betting tips. DynamiteSportsMarketing.com is his website. You can get all his merch, all this cool stuff he has, head covers, all this stuff, golf, hats, really cool. He's got a Masters line coming out. Is it available?
No frescas.
No frescas? Okay.
No, it's not available yet. It will be in mid-February, I think, the Masters hats.
But it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. Yeah,
cool
excited
stuff.
about that one. I think that one looks pretty cool.
So again, Dean, thanks so much.
Thanks, buddy. I
You're a
appreciate
good man.
it. Thanks, buddy. I love you.
He broke his shit. That's all the time we have for tonight in the Frank Show. All right, buddy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, everyone. Have a great week. Stay warm, and we'll talk soon.